Very good afternoon, and we start our news conference on October 27th, 2024. The Russian military had a mission in the Donetsk People's Republic near Bogoyavlenka to evacuate from the combat zone and to send to Donetsk a U.S. citizen, Daniel Martindale. He is here with us today, and welcome. He stayed in Ukraine, and he was in Ukraine since February 11, 2022, and he got in touch with the Russian military, and for 2 years he communicated the coordinates of Ukrainian military facilities to Russia, and this information from Daniel was used to carry out strikes against infrastructure, hardware, and military personnel of the Ukrainian armed forces. And today Daniel is willing and ready to share with us some information why he decided to do what he did, why did he travel to the Special Military Operations Zone, and what does he think about what is happening in Ukraine. Once again, welcome. Daniel, can you just present yourself? Where are you from, and how did you happen to be in Ukraine?
Thank you very much for your introduction. As she's probably already mentioned, my name is Daniel Martindale. If anybody has any doubts, here's my passport. It's been through a war, along with me. There you are. I have some other documents that prove who I am. It's my birth certificate and high school diploma. I should mention first off that no one has forced me to be here. I am definitely in my right mind, good and in good health. I'm doing this completely out of my own goodwill. I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to discuss the topic that is at hand today. Just after introduction, what's the next part of the question? I've forgotten.
Well, you've already started presenting yourself. You presented your IDs, so we know where you come from. But how did you happen to be in Ukraine?
I was in Poland for 2 years before the war, working as a missionary. And because of different pieces of news that we saw in Western media, it became clear to me that it was very highly likely that a war might start in Ukraine. And so, because for a long time I'd wanted to be in Russia, I understood that if there was ever a time to head in that direction, that it was then. And so, before the war, on 11th of February, 2022, I crossed the border into the Ukraine with the idea of heading for Donetsk. If anybody has any doubts about where I crossed the border into Ukraine and when, I still have a stamp from the 11th of February.
Thank you so much, Daniel. We have quite a few journalists here, and they all want to ask questions. So let's start with Channel 1 Russia. So the mic to you, present yourself. Channel 1 Russia. So my question for you is, what do you think about what is happening in Ukraine right now, and why did you decide to help the Russian armed forces?
For me, the war in Ukraine is not as much of a cultural issue as it is for people in Russia and Ukraine, as it is a continuation of Washington's battle with the rest of the world, really, and even with its own citizens. I see it as just America's attempt to contain and to repress Russia in their attempt to be an equal player in the world. I see it as a war where one side is fighting for justice, and the other side is really just interested in their own financial and business interests, and really not interested in the well-being of their own citizens or of any citizens anywhere, or even in the welfare of their own soldiers.
Спасибо. На третий ряд микрофон.
To the third row, Россия сегодня News Agency. Thank you so much. My question to you is the following, if I may. How have you been able to get in touch with the Russian military and secret services? How have you maintained this contact, and what kind of information did you pass on to Russia?
Thank you for the question. As I said previously, I wanted to end up in Donetsk, and so I realized that I needed to do that in coordination with the Russian side, not just show up. And so in my attempts to figure out where the front was, where the Russian soldiers were, I started looking at the news on that kind of topic in Telegram, and I found the news channel of the Donetsk People's Republic's Territorial Defense Office's their Territorial Defense Office, and there I found a bot that was linked to in their channel called Levy Caliber. Most of my contact with the Russian side, I was able to keep up and keep in touch using Telegram with the contacts that came to me through that bot. They also helped me to understand the conflict better from the perspective of Russian citizens, Ukrainian citizens, not just what I would see in the Western media. At one point, when I was having trouble with my phone, when I was in the village, Russian soldiers tried to give me a new phone by attaching it to a Mavic drone. They flew it over the village and dropped me a new phone. So there definitely was not only effort on my part, but effort from the Russian side to keep up that contact. So I'm very grateful for that.
Thank you so much for your answer. NTV News Network, please, your question. Daniel, good afternoon. Could you please share your experience in Ukraine? Where have you been? What cities have you visited? And what are your impressions?
I've missed the very beginning of the question before you asked about which cities I was in.
Could you tell us about your stay in Ukraine? So how was your experience in Ukraine?
It was really quite a story of surviving, trying to not be discovered. It really wasn't much different, I don't think, from many of what the Ukrainian citizens today go through in their attempts to wait for the Russian army to free them. I had a bit of advantage. It was a bit easier for me because I have a U.S. passport. So without that passport, I don't think I would have been able to go from Lvov in the beginning of the war through Kiev, Kramatorsk, Kurakhova, and then end up in the village where I spent most of my time. Let's see. Probably the thing that is the most pressing thing that stayed in my memory is how not only I, but probably every Ukrainian citizen that I encountered there was in some way hiding something. Very commonly, we were hiding our allegiance or our sympathy for Russia, hiding our real intentions of really waiting for them, and hiding our lack of patriotism for Kyiv. Everybody in the country, it seems like to me, that if they had any sympathy for Russia, they were forced to learn how to live like a spy. And that's quite the memory, to see how other people dealt with that problem and having to live with that myself.
Спасибо. Следующий.
Thank you so much. Next question. Hello, Daniel. My question is about your attitude towards Ukrainians. Are they different from Russians? You don't know many Russians, of course, but what do you think about the people in Ukraine? How do they live their lives today? Thank you.
About Ukrainians is that it's visible in how they live, their daily activities, that they've been betrayed a lot. You can see that they really understand that if they don't fight for themselves, if they don't look out for their own safety, that really nobody is interested in their well-being. And so it seems that that has become their main ideology, is just to survive themselves, and not really be incredibly interested in what government they have, or what kind of, perhaps not even really care what religion they're in, but just to survive. I would say that in comparison to Russians, that if it weren't for the politics in their country, they would probably be exactly the same. I found many things in their character that was very similar to what I experienced when I was in Russia before. That sense of friendship and community and openness one to another. All of these things, I could see that they were there, if not a little hidden below the surface, just because a war is on. Did I miss a question there?
Yes, thank you so much. And the next question, VGTRK News Network, third row, please. Andrei Grigoriev, Russia 1 Network. So what can you say about the losses of the Ukrainian armed forces? What are the people saying about the number of losses, the casualties of Ukraine?
The general opinion of the locals in the village where I was is that Ukrainian soldiers were basically being sent to die for no reason, no logic. I can say from what I saw with troop movements, just from the neighboring houses around me, that their losses are incredibly high. For example, in the month of August 2024, there moved in a group of Ukrainian foot soldiers, the ones who would be stationed on the front line, of about 100 soldiers. And in about a month's time, they left, they rotated out, and out of that 100 soldiers, there were 7 remaining.
Спасибо.
Thank you so much. Izvestia newspaper, please. Do we have Izvestia? Yes. what does the Ukrainian government think about how do they treat those who return from the front line? How does Ukraine help the military personnel, the veterans, those who were disabled by the hostilities?
I'm afraid I can't comment. Being in the village where I wasn't able to see any of that kind of politics.
Хорошо, давайте.
Very well. Let's move to the next question. Itartas News Agency. Hello. What do you think about the division of the Ukrainian Orthodox Church, and how does this affect the local population in Ukraine?
Well, I'm a Christian myself, but not Orthodox, so I can't really comment very much about the problem. But I can say that my neighbors in the village where I was, if this topic came up, all of them were deeply disturbed and upset about that split in the church.
Спасибо.
Interfax News Agency, second row. Menshikov Andrei. Daniel, could you please tell us in more details how were you able to leave the combat zone?
I want to leave something for the book that I hope to write, but I will say that it's a big thanks to soldiers from the 29th Army of Eastern Russia that they crossed the front line to come and get me. They did everything very professionally. We were in a lot of danger from Ukrainian drones and artillery, but they were able to get me out. Praise God, and thanks to them. I should also put in a very good word for all of the Russian special services who were involved in coordinating the whole effort, the whole operation.
Thank you so much. And we have one more question from our news agency, Россия сегодня. Good afternoon, РИА Новости. In your opinion, how should the conflict in Ukraine end? What should be the ending for the conflict in Ukraine, in your opinion?
Well, I have to go back and look at what I think about criminal activity in general. We have to realize that the Kiev government really is responsible for deaths, murders, torture, for kidnapping of hundreds of thousands of people. And as history shows us, if you don't punish a criminal, he'll continue to do what he's done in the past, and he'll do it even more and with even worse effects. So I don't really see any option except that the Kiev government be completely disarmed, and for them it would be best, I suppose, for them to be brought to court, and for them to either be by Russian law or by international law judged just like the criminals were in Germany for their crimes against the Polish and Jews and Germans of their time. For that to come about, the war has to become unprofitable for Washington. If they continue to support the war, I believe that Russia, in any case, will win, but I hope that the United States will decide soon that it's not in their interest to continue supporting the Kiev government, and that sooner rather than later we can see a just end to the war.
Спасибо.
Thank you so much, RT. A question from RT. Please use a microphone.
Forever with RT International. The presidential election is just around the corner in the United States. Do you think the outcome of the presidential election is going to have any kind of effect on the situation in Ukraine
I highly doubt
today?
it.
And so a follow-up question right away. Are you familiar with any of the candidates? Do you express any sympathy towards any of the candidates? Basically, what do you know about the election? Thanks.
I find it highly unlikely that I could trust either of the two candidates that are there right now. If I happen to try to tell you that one is better than the other, then probably would just be another opportunity for Western media to accuse Russian media of meddling in their elections. So I definitely won't make any recommendations today. If I happen to be in the United States right now, it definitely would need to be a candidate who is for peace, but he also needs to do that in a way that is in line with my religious views. So he needs to support a traditional family where you have a man, woman, children being brought up to be normal people in a productive society. If Putin was running in the United States today, I would vote for him.
Спасибо.
Thank you so much. Russia 24 Network, please, your question. Russia 24. So, would you like to return to the United States? When was the last time when you talked to your family members in the United States? What do they think about what you did in Ukraine?
Two questions there. First one was, do I want to go back to the United States? The answer is a very definite no. I understand from about 2005 that the United States government is my enemy, personally, because of the fact that they are responsible for the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001. For a conservative American, we always understand from the very beginning that the government is our enemy. But when they declare war on their own citizens, that is that's a cause to go to war with them. So I definitely don't want to be in the United States. Second question, sorry.
Микрофон, пожалуйста, микрофон.
Have you been in touch with your family members in the United States, and what do they think about what you did?
I've been in touch with my family just here a couple days ago. I have a video I can show that we'll show in just a minute to prove that they are in good health. Everything is fine with them. They definitely are in support of my activities here. They have been from the very beginning. If anything, I think they're jealous that they didn't have an opportunity to do the same themselves. The video that we're about to show, I would like it to be that kind of a proof that if anything does happen to me or my family in the near future, that it's not because of any natural causes. It's because the American government probably is very interested at this point in putting pressure on me to reverse my position, to get me to come back to the United States and say that I did everything wrong.
Мы заговорили о семье.
So you mentioned family, and Daniel shared with us a very personal video in which he talks to his family members and his relatives. So let's watch him.
To figure out who it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it's secret information. Pretty well secret. For about 1 week, we're thinking it'll remain secret.
1 week?
Yeah. There's already a video out where a reporter asked was responding to the news piece that was in the Russian news, and was asking the U.S. State Department what their comment was about the situation. They didn't have any comment, but there's all the news has already gotten to that level. So you can be guaranteed.
Is anybody going to come knocking at our door?
Yeah, that could happen very soon.
I mean,
We know nothing.
Right.
why would we? I mean, it's not like we're.
I know, but it's to harass people.
Well,
Okay.
they would want to do anything and everything to get me to recant, say I'm sorry, to leave here, go back to the United States, and tell everybody how big of a mistake I made.
Just turn it off.
Yeah.
They would not be above, of course, putting pressure on you guys to get me to do that.
Okay.
Well, I suppose if they're that desperate for a media event, some kind.
I don't think it's a real big problem, Danny. I mean, what kind of pressure do you think they put on mom and dad anyway? Throw us in jail for what?
They have no morals, Christian. They just killed how many people in North Carolina?
Yeah, well, if
They have
some
no morals.
if some neo-Nazis come up to our door, I'll smoke them. I got the guns to do it.
This is all being recorded. Be more careful.
No one likes neo-Nazis anyway. Well, they shouldn't.
Это тот снайперскую винтовку. American slave.
Don't you be talking out of turn now, Dan.
Okay,
I
so
heard.
Well,
Yes.
the Russians don't like Nazis either.
I
so.
heard that.
you guys sleep on it, you pray on it, okay? And just know that that's the opinion from this end. That should make steps in that direction. We're going to have a public event here where the fact that you guys exist, that we are definitely father, mother, and son, that you guys are in good health, and that
Very.
Speak for yourself.
and that if anything happens to you guys, I in advance know that it's the American government that's at fault. We're going to try to do everything we can publicly to make sure that they do not have a free hand to put pressure on you guys.
Oh, they have a name for that.
Blackmail.
No,
Oh.
no, they have a name for
Yeah?
that. A dead man's something.
Oh, Dead Man's Switch.
Yeah, a dead man's switch.
Oh, the nuclear?
You make something so public they can't get away with stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're going to try to do.
Alex Jones syndrome.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So that's why this video is so important. Okay?
I see. Well, I was glad I got a couple of chuckles out of the audience. Grateful for the opportunity to clown around a little.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank goodness this call came when it did. I just got my hair done.
Oh,
I did it.
yeah, that's
I
still a
gotta
little.
touch up my beard. It's getting a little scruffy.
We need a little section here where it'll be something that we can cut out of the video that will be what we show to the world, basically.
Oh.
And
Can
so,
I go put some lipstick on?
No.
no, you look great without it. Okay, just so that everybody understands, my mom is a natural redhead, and even though she should have been, her hair should have been completely white many, many years ago,
And that helped me.
yes, this is the healthiest mother of a 33-year-old that you will ever find.
At age 71.
Ah, okay. I did
And
not say it.
I have no degenerative diseases at all.
Yeah, and aside from sin, that's covered by the blood of Jesus.
Yeah.
He has no degenerative diseases.
And no wisdom teeth.
True, but I am getting a partial in a couple of weeks, about a week.
Really?
Yeah,
Maybe we don't have
I
time
lost
for
a
that.
couple of teeth here, and I said, well, let's just do a partial. And they said, okay. And when I was there at the dentist yesterday, they said, we're also going to give you a couple of more teeth back. So I'm going to actually gain a couple of grinders in the rear that will also help me act more like, my internal age, eternal.
Okay.
Teeth that last forever, never wear out.
Or in other words, we're all set to see you both at age 100, right?
At what?
At age 100.
Age 100.
Yeah.
I'll go with Pastor Kelly. He says 120.
120? Sounds good.
Yeah, that means my life. That means I've got at least half as many years yet to go as what I've done already. At that,
let's see.
two-thirds mark.
That means you guys will be around. Okay.
You'll be in your 70s.
I'll be in my 70s. That means my kids should be at least in their 30s.
30s or 40s, yeah.
All right. Sounds great. Just for the camera, can you tell us what month, day, year we're at right now?
Yes, it is October the 30th, the eve of that Devil's Day. But this is All Saints Day. Okay,
right.
October 30th, 2024.
All righty. Thank you.
Click, click. Okay.
Time date that, huh?
Yeah. Anything further?
Thank you so much, Daniel. As if we visited your family and stayed with them. So what do you think about your life and how will you live your life moving forward? Do you want to become a Russian national?
For the last 2 years, I've been involved in doing everything I can to preserve the lives of Russian soldiers and their future Russian citizens in Ukraine. If there's an opportunity to continue doing that, I'd more than welcome it. As far as changing this passport for a Russian one, let's do it yesterday. Beyond that, if when the war is over and we have a peaceful situation, I would very much love to go back to either farming myself, starting my own family in Russia, or perhaps making farm equipment for the Russian market and perhaps the international market. I have experience doing both of those things now.
Ну, тогда я хочу вам
Well, I would like to wish you all the best, that all your dreams come true, to have a family, to have a farming profession. Thank you so much for your time, for this meeting with the Russian media, and best of luck to you in all your undertakings. And thank you to the journalists who came here.